All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Heroes Connect Military to Manufacturing event. My name is Katie Bowerman. I'm a senior program manager with the Manufacturing Institute, and I oversee our virtual Heroes Make America skill bridge training program, as well as moderate our virtual events just like these. So whether you're a seasoned Heroes Connect attendee or new to the show, we are happy to have you here spending the next hour with us. We started these events to help open our military population's eyes to the manufacturing and supply chain industries. So often our companies go unnoticed simply because folks just haven't heard of them, right? They may not recognize the company name. But we are here today to change that. Manufacturing is such a dynamic industry, and our military talents are so well aligned with all these positions at the companies. We just don't know what we don't know, right? We don't know what these companies do because we may not be familiar. And we're going to change that a little bit every week. So let's get started with today's event and who we are talking with. A company that you may not have heard of before, but man, they're a crucial piece of the puzzle to making sure that the world is being built around us. So we are featuring Manitowoc and specifically one of their subsidiaries, MGX Equipment Services. So I'm excited for you all to learn more about them today. Before we get started, let's do some housekeeping. First off, the event is being recorded and it's going to be sent out as a recap email. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Please stay muted throughout the event just to make sure that we minimize any background noise. But even though you're muted, still be an active participant. We live in the chat box. So as you are listening to these folks, as we're going through the presentation, if any questions come up, drop them in the chat box. I'll come and circle back to those questions after the presentation and we'll talk through all the answers to your questions. So let's get started on that chat box. Pull it up right now. If you can drop in the location that you will be job searching. So city, state, region, if you're completely open to relocation, whatever it might be. So drop in that contact information and we will go ahead and move forward. So go ahead and pull up the chat box and do that piece. All right, so while you're doing that, I do want to talk through the Heroes Make America program just a little bit. So briefly highlight our Skill Bridge program because we do have a lot of our students on the call, but we do have other military affiliate participants and company reps who are joining us today. So if you don't know what Heroes is, that's okay. We're a DoD approved Skill Bridge program. We're open to transitioning service members, veterans, reservists, guardsmen, military spouses, and we provide a variety of certification trainings equipping our folks with rewarding careers in the manufacturing and supply chain industry. Right. So our students learn all kinds of things like safety, quality practices, various technical trainings, electrical, mechanical, pneumatic. We also have a large logistics and supply chain training. So you can see here our program managers, the trainings that we offer, and then our upcoming class dates. So we are going to drop in our contact information. So if you are interested in doing one of our programs, please connect with us or email heroes@nem.org. Look at that, all done. Now off to the main show here. We've got Ashley Barkville, HR Director for Manitowoc. So Ashley, the floor is all yours.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ashley Barkdahl, and I'm the HR Director for MGX Equipment Services, which is a subsidiary of Manitowoc. And I actually started with Manitowoc almost 19 years ago, and then joined the MGX team after they were acquired by Manitowoc back in 2021. There are a few individuals from either Manitowoc or MGX on the call with us today as well. We have James Cook, who is our Executive Vice President of Human Resources, Joseph Fields, who is an HR representative for MGX. We also have Kelly Piper, who is an HR manager for Manitowoc, and Laura Jewell, who is an HR representative for Manitowoc. And for anyone who doesn't know anything about Manitowoc, we wanted to start with a video that gives you a great overview of the company. So if you want to go ahead and play that for us, please.
Around the globe, major construction projects are either in the works or planned. Projects that will build the structures where people live, the factories where they work, and the infrastructure needed to support the global economy. One crane manufacturer is uniquely positioned to meet the lifting needs of these vital projects and ensure that the companies that undertake them have the tools needed to maximize their return on investment. That company is Manitowoc. With real performance, real quality and reliability, real return on investment, real agility, and real aftermarket support, Manitowoc is poised to build something real. We will accomplish this by being agile, which means building products for the world's changing needs. Our innovations allow cranes to do more with less, enabling our customers to be more productive while dramatically reducing project costs. We test our cranes rigorously to ensure the highest reliability and the greatest return on investment. Meeting the world's lifting needs requires a crane that stays on the job day after day, year after year. We support our customers with real aftermarket support from Manitowoc Crane Care and flexible financing options from Manitowoc Finance. A new day is dawning, one filled with opportunity and promise. One company is manufacturing the cranes to fulfill those needs. Manitowoc, build something real.
And we have a nice timeline of events to show you that shows how Manitowoc started, which it started in 1902 as Manitowoc Dry Dock Company, and that was founded in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. And then throughout the years, they started building cranes and renamed it the Manitowoc Company in 1952. You can see that they've made some acquisitions over the years, such as Paton Tower Cranes, Grove Mobile Cranes. 2008, we sold the shipbuilding segment of our business. And at one point we had a food service company as well that we completely spun off from the cranes business in 2016. In 2021, we acquired Aspen Equipment and the crane side of the H&E equipment business. We also acquired Conan Equipment's crane assets in 2022. And at Manitowoc, we live by 4 core values. We do what is right. We work in a safe and environmentally responsible way. We are respectful of others. We also behave ethically, and we deliver quality work. We work together as a team. We try to help each other to meet our customers' needs. We put our team first, and we work with each other and support our team members. We also like to foster open two-way communication. We also deliver results. We do what we say we're going to do. We're always focusing on continuous improvement and innovation, and we want to strive to exceed our customers' expectations. We're also role models. We celebrate the successes that we have together, and we learn from our failures. We like to approach every day with a can-do attitude, and we do like to have fun as well, because that's important. Safety is our #1 priority. We want our employees to go home safely each day. We believe that every injury is preventable and that safety is everyone's responsibility. Next slide, please. So at Manitowoc, we design, manufacture, and distribute multiple crane products. So we have our crawler mounted lattice boom cranes, which we sell under the Manitowoc brand name. If you ever are driving down the road and see them involved in any type of road work, or I've seen them in many commercial construction sites, such as distribution centers, stadiums, that type of thing. They are the big red crawler cranes that you'll see, and the boom will have Manitowoc on the side of it. We also have our top slewing and self-erecting tower cranes, which are sold under the Paton brand name, and our mobile hydraulic cranes, which are sold under Grove, Shuttle Lift, and National Crane brand names. Our products are used in a wide variety of applications throughout the world. I mentioned the road and bridge work and airport construction. A lot of our national cranes are used in the utility business. You may also see them in residential construction. We also sell our entire product offering and full line of services in most regions of the world. But moreover, we report under a geographic reporting structure to better align with the location of our customers and the unique market of each region. We are not just a manufacturing company. We also have aftermarket services that we provide our customers with care and innovation as well. And you heard us mention MGX Equipment Services being a subsidiary of Manitowoc. I like to use the thought process of, when you're buying a car from a dealer, it's very similar to that. You have your manufacturing side of Manitowoc, which manufactures the cranes. And then you have the dealer side where the cranes are sold to the dealer and they sell or rent to the customer. And it's a similar aspect here. Manitowoc has the manufacturing side of the cranes, and then our dealer services, which one is company owned, is MGX Equipment Services. They serve a variety of end market customers, and they have a nationwide field sales and service team. So if somebody has a crane that they have purchased from us and that crane is at a job site, maybe something happens and they need to troubleshoot or diagnose what's wrong and then make repairs, we will send a mobile field technician to that job site and they will troubleshoot, figure out the problem, and they will fix it there. Or you may need your crane to come into a dealer to just have general service work done. Or maybe you're buying a new part or it's being remanufactured. We have locations all over the US that will help provide those services. We have 13 branch locations now. Actually, for MGX, we just opened one a few months ago in South Carolina. And then we also have Aspen Equipment, which is a division of MGX. And they are similar with some respects to MGX, but they offer another service, which we call upfitting. They will take work trucks and upfit them to the customer specifications. But they also service a wide array of customers in the construction, mining, railroad, tree care, and utility end markets. And they have 5 branch locations for Aspen. And this is a look at our aftermarket locations in North America. I do want to make note of some locations that aren't showing on here because this is for MGX and Aspen, but our Grove manufacturing and remanufacturing locations are in Shady Grove, Pennsylvania. That's the largest manufacturing location for Manitowoc and Grove products. And there's maybe around 1,200 or 1,300 people at that location. We then have a smaller facility in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. In Port Washington, Wisconsin, that makes some smaller subcomponents that go into the crawler cranes. We also have our corporate office, which is in Milwaukee. And then we have a remanufacturing facility in Bauxite, Arkansas. And when you hear me say remanufacturing, because I may say that at different times throughout the presentation, if we have a customer who has purchased a crane and maybe they don't want to purchase a brand new crane, but they want to refurbish a crane they already have to be in like new conditions, then they would take that to a remanufacturing location and they would make that crane like new again. But shown on the map here are our dealer locations for MGX and Aspen. And we have locations in Billings, Montana, Salt Lake City, Utah, Phoenix, Arizona, Denver, Colorado, Dallas and Houston, Texas, Baton Rouge and Belle Chase, Louisiana, Birmingham, Alabama, Aiken, South Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Norfolk, Virginia, and Baltimore, Maryland. And then our Aspen locations are Lee Summit, Missouri, Ankeny, Iowa, Davenport, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska, and Bloomington, Minnesota. We do have many job openings across our manufacturing locations as well as our dealer branches for MGX and Aspen. We do offer positions that expand outside of the normal manufacturing or technician roles. And that would include positions in engineering, finance, information systems, sales, management, and much more. Our QR code can be found on many of the slides that you see today. It's also, if you can see my face on the screen at all, it will be above my head. And you can also visit our website at www.manitowoc.com, and you can view careers across all our locations. Or they do have a nice feature where if you want to upload your resume, it will match you to a job according to the information that it finds in your resume. But you'll see here our current job openings. Initially for MGX and Aspen, we do keep a continuous posting for our shop crane trainees, and as well as our shop crane technicians, our field crane technicians, and our installation technicians, which work on our upfit products for Aspen. There's also some positions available specifically at Shady Grove. We have a business systems analyst position and an accountant for shared services. And if we go to the next slide, I'll just go over a few more that we have available. For our engineering team, we have an entry-level engineer in Shady Grove, as well as a senior manufacturing engineer and a manager of sales development. For our aftermarket, we're looking for branch managers in a few locations, as well as service admins and service managers. And these jobs are continually updated as they become available. And this listing may not be all inclusive because, again, it does change regularly as we have things that come available to our candidates. So our training centers in the US, we have 9 trainers across 2 of our training centers. One is in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, and one is in Shady Grove, Pennsylvania. They offer GMK, Grove, Manitowoc, and National Crane classes. They have 9 classrooms and 3 dedicated simulators or test bench rooms where you can, kind of simulate the operation of a crane and gain some training there as well. In 2022, we had approximately 860 students go through our training centers, and they conduct approximately 250 classes annually. So you heard me mention that we're looking for shop crane tech trainees or shop crane technicians, and those positions, we don't always find somebody who's able to work on cranes. It's kind of a niche market where it's a specialized skill set, but we have people who are very interested in learning that, or, maybe they have basic mechanical abilities and they want to come in and they want to learn and progress through to become a technician. So we do have a quick start learning plan that is an 18-month program for an inexperienced technician, and that allows them to gain a broad knowledge of Grove cranes or Manitowoc cranes. It is at a basic level, but it focuses on that basic competence to be safe, productive, and revenue generating. During that quick start program, you would be trained on all computer and load indicator systems, as well as software tools for calibrations, adjustments, flashing, and troubleshooting. And they have a combination of in-person classes and supplemental e-learning materials to support that in-person training. You do have a few paths that you can choose. You have a yellow path and a red path. And if you notice our cranes, we kind of color code them a little bit. Our Grove cranes are yellow. Our Manitowoc cranes are red. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the Master Tech Learning Plan next that allows you to specialize a little bit on different product lines. So our Master Tech path is a more in-depth training plan where you can develop a product expert from the ground up. It does focus on detailed training of all intricacies and options on the product line to develop what we call a subject matter expert. And that typically takes around 3 to 5 years to progress through that program. That curriculum will cover one single product line. So it allows you to specialize on, maybe you want to specialize on Grove, you want to specialize on Manitowoc, on GMKs, on National Cranes. It allows you to kind of focus in on that one product line and become a subject matter expert on that particular line. And we do have some technicians who are subject matter experts on multiple product lines. You will also learn old product information and new product information because there are generational variations to our products. As technology develops and as we innovate new softwares or new processes or new equipment that goes on our cranes, you have to know all of it, because if you're helping a customer out in the field or that comes into the branch, they may have an old crane, they may have a new crane, and our technicians have to know all of that. They also, learn the software tools for calibrations, adjustments, flashing, and troubleshooting on those product lines. And we have a social media series that you can find on our Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube pages that highlights our technicians. We call it Meet the Field Techs, and you can really get a sense of the culture here at MGX and Manitowoc. I think that they're going to link the YouTube page for that, but you may see an MGX technician, an Aspen technician. We also did this globally, so there's technicians on a global level there as well that you'll get to understand more of what they like about working for the company. And the one that we're going to watch now is actually an Aspen technician.
My name is Kyle Penland, and I've worked for Aspen Equipment for 6 years now. I'm a field service mechanic. I travel to job sites and work in the shop as well. I like that it's you travel quite a bit and be gone, and it kind of gives you the little bit of a freedom of doing the work on your own without somebody being right behind you most of the time. It gives you a pretty rounded area for what we do. We work on cranes, dump trucks, snow plows. We're just a very versatile group of mechanics. So. Learn a little bit about everything, about mountain service bodies to building snow plows, servicing plows, working on cranes, small cranes, large Manitowoc cranes, Grove cranes. Been a little bit of everything. So.
One thing I just wanted to mention about Kyle, who was the technician that you saw in that video. Kyle recently relocated. In that video, he was an Aspen technician. He and his family were actually moving to another area of the U.S. in the Idaho area, and I think they were moving to be closer to family. But one great thing about having locations across the U.S. is that he was able to stay with the company because he was moving into a territory that our Salt Lake City branch out of Utah actually managed that territory, and he was able to become a technician on the MGX side. So he moved from an Aspen branch to an MGX branch, and he's still a field technician doing what he likes to do, but he had that opportunity where he could stay with his employer and be able to still move and be with his family. So there's a lot of opportunities all across the U.S. and globally when it comes to what we do. We are very proud to work with the military every day. We have an entire department that focuses just on providing the government the equipment that they need, and we call that Grove Defense. We sell commercial cranes to the Air Force, Navy, Corps of Engineers, Israeli Defense Force, and many more. And the photos that you see on the screen are of a crane that we designed and we built for the Army and National Guard. The benefits that we have at Manitowoc include a competitive total rewards package. Benefits and 401k begin day one of employment. We also offer continuing education and training opportunities. We also have tuition reimbursement for those who would qualify. We have a pretty good leave package. We have vacation time off. We have holiday pay. We also provide paid parental leave. We offer different team building and engagement events, and we like to be very involved in the communities that surround our locations. The employees have a scholarship program where if they have children who are going to college and apply for the scholarship, we offer that program to all of our employees as well. And many, many more benefits. Finally, we have our career opportunities link where you can use the QR code to visit the career site and a list of the contacts that are here today that you can reach out to after the presentation ends today if you have any questions on anything or want to follow up about any applications or additional questions.
All right, let me come back on real quick. I'm going to keep this slide up while we talk, so they have all your contact information as well as it's been dropped in the chat box. So thank you, Ashley, for all that great information. It's a great start to our presentation, but I know a lot of the meat and potatoes gets talked about in the Q&A session. So if you guys have any questions, start to drop them in the chat. I do have some that have already begun. Let's talk about some of the HR stuff. Let's get that out of the way. Let's talk through some of the logistics of how to apply. So one, what would be the typical recruitment process for roles at MGX Manitowoc? What does that look like?
So typically we ask that if there's a specific position that you're interested in, you go out to our website, you apply to that job. And then with having our contact information, feel free to send us a message letting us know that you did apply so that we're looking for that. We typically will screen the candidates as they come through our applicant tracking system, and we share those candidates' resumes with our hiring managers at the locations that they're applying to. The hiring managers will also review and will either the hiring manager or the recruiter or HR person will reach out and talk to them, maybe schedule a phone interview or schedule an on-site interview with them, and they'll be able to go to the location and meet with the managers, take a tour, kind of, go through the whole interview process and then continue from there.
Perfect. Thank you. I guess two follow-up questions to that. You said take a tour. What if, our military, they're all over the place. Is there opportunity to go to a site if they're not located in that area?
Yes. I've had some where they maybe are not in that general area, but we would allow them to travel to that location to see, what they would be getting into. It is difficult when you're remote to agree to something, right? So I'm not going to move across the country if I don't think, or if I don't really know what to expect. That's a huge risk to take. So yes, we would work with the candidate to make sure that they were able to visit and meet with the people in person and have an appropriate interview so that they could make that decision.
That is wonderful, because I also agree it's hard to move across the country for a position if you don't know, is it going to be a good fit? What is it like? So that's great that you all fly people out or help people travel to that location. If they are emailing you all to inquire more about positions or let you know that they applied, should they identify that it's from the Heroes Connect call? Would that help identify
yes, that would
them?
be very helpful. Yes.
Okay. So you heard that, folks. If you want to email them, say, hey, I participated in the Heroes Connect call on March 13th. That will be helpful to get your email flagged because they are busy folks. Okay. Next on the HR list. So what qualities and experiences do you look for in potential candidates? And this might be position specific, but can you talk through some of those ideal experiences and qualities?
Yeah. So all of our job descriptions have a basic requirement section, right, where it will explain if there's education that's required, if there's a certain skill set or a certain number of years of experience that are required to be, considered for that position. Clearly, we'll look at the candidate's resume and see that it lines up with what the general expectations and requirements of the job would be. Does that answer the question? Or
I think so. I guess, can you expand? Let's do a follow-up to that. What about preferred versus minimum? Can you talk through like hard rule for minimum, and then also talk about degrees and are those hard rules for positions.
Yeah, you may see some that say that they will take experience in lieu of a degree. Maybe a degree is required, or X number of years of experience would be considered in lieu of a degree. We also may have some preferred qualifications where we have a minimum expectation, but to really make you more considerable for that job, if you have these preferred qualifications, that would, really get you in the door a little bit faster. But, we do screen pretty well and may even call and ask some follow-up questions if we have questions about things that are on the resume, to make sure that, this might be what we're looking for, but maybe they can expand on it a little bit. Sometimes a resume doesn't give you, what is it? The minimum should be 1 page, but really to know something about them, you might need it to expand a little bit more.
Perfect. I guess along that same line, do you have any additional tips that you can offer for an applicant to stand out in this recruitment process?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you're submitting your application, if you're submitting a resume along with it, really make sure that your resume tells us what you're capable of doing. Sometimes I've seen vague resumes where it's very, I welded, and it doesn't give me much more detail than that. So really explain what your skill sets are, even if you think that they are minimal, they're still important. I say this when I work with high schoolers sometimes, where they're not thinking that they really have a lot of skills because they haven't gone out in the workforce yet. And I help them write their resume, and they're like, well, I'm in the band, and, I'm in the art club, or, but they don't have real work experience. I'm like, yeah, but you're in the band, or you're the leader of this club or group. That's a leadership skill, right? Even though to them it might not really seem significant, that's a skill set that may qualify them for something along the way. So make sure that you're explaining what you're capable of and what all of your skill sets are, because it's helpful.
Ashley, could I piggyback on that?
Mhm.
I also want to encourage you all to consider starting a LinkedIn page. And I tell you, as a recruiter that does a lot of sourcing, a lot of talking to candidates and connecting with folks, we could find you on LinkedIn very easily. Even when you're not necessarily looking for the role, the right role could be looking for you. So your resume is already going to be done. You're just going to mirror your LinkedIn page off of your resume. So it's not any extra work to do. And again, as a recruiter who stays in LinkedIn and is always in there, I'm looking for you. So that's one benefit of a LinkedIn page, but also connecting with other like-minded people. Networking is going to be super important for you as you begin your civilian career out there. Joining groups that you are interested in, manufacturing, cranes, heavy equipment, all those things, connect with those groups, find other resources, connecting with other people, and this person who knows that person who knows that person, and it just opens up your professional world. And it just helps out for recruiters to see you. So I really encourage you all to look into a LinkedIn page and getting that going, because it'll help your career for sure. When I got out of the Navy, I was in for 8 years. I was in administration, so I was a legal man. And it was kind of easy for me to find a job because it was admin related. Well, some of you are coming out and you're not necessarily having that same role. So having that LinkedIn page is really going to open the doors for you a lot, I think. So I encourage you to do that. And if you have any questions about building your LinkedIn page or anything, I'm happy to help. Shoot me an email, and I'm here for you. Go Navy.
Joseph, I'm not sure. I don't think we dropped in all of Manitowoc's LinkedIn. So my folks on the call, if you want to drop in your LinkedIn URLs, these guys can connect with you. So thank you, Joseph. That's a great piece of advice. Yeah, because you want to find them too, because that role you might have just perfect for someone. And I do also encourage you all to identify yourself as military. That's also important on your resume or on your LinkedIn, both actually. All right, next position related question. And this is going to kind of go two different ways because I can see the chat regarding remote roles. And I think there's two different ways that we can answer this. One, can we talk more about the remote, more like technician roles that are not tied to an office necessarily, right? So they're remote out and about. But then what about remote like work from home? Can you talk about those two different positions?
Yes. So remote technicians, they still have a territory area. And while MGX is a dealer for Manitowoc, Manitowoc owns one of their own dealers, right? So there are other dealers outside of MGX that are not owned by Manitowoc, but still deal or sell our product. So all of our dealers have a territory in a geographic area. So while there are remote technician positions, or we call them resident technicians, they are still tied to a branch location within a certain area. They can't go outside of that area, or it's kind of moving into and taking business away from other territories that are also dealers of Manitowoc. So while there are some resident tech positions available, it really just depends. Kyle Penland, who we heard from earlier, is a great example of that because he was moving to Idaho, which just so happened to be within the territory that the Salt Lake City branch was servicing. So they're a good example to kind of have a resident tech. They have Kyle in Idaho. They have Nathan in Wyoming. So they do kind of branch out a little bit more. They have some in Nevada. Our Phoenix, Arizona branch, they have a mining contract at the Freeport Morenci mine, and that's maybe 3 to 4 hours away from the branch. So those technicians are kind of remote. We also have a few in New Mexico who are resident techs, but again, it's within that area, and they also have to have a need for an additional technician to service that area for them to say, oh yeah, we can have somebody that's a remote technician. But when we have positions like sales reps, those people are more of a work from home role because they are on the road a lot. They travel a lot for the sales team. Joseph is a good example. Joseph is on the HR team, but he works from home. And on the manufacturing side, it's a little different because you have to be more hands-on and here for the workforce at the manufacturing facility because that's where the employees are. But for MGX and Aspen, we have 18 branches across the US, and it's okay if Joseph works out of North Carolina and I'm in Pennsylvania because we kind of work wherever we can because I travel like 40% of the time, so I work from anywhere. So there are some roles where you can work from home. Some you have to be in the branch or, at least close by, but there are opportunities.
Along that same line. So whether they're going to be, at one of the dealerships or work from home, all these positions are going to be on one of those 3 career websites, right? So even if it's at a dealership, they still just need to go to one of those 3, and we can drop those in the chat again.
Yes.
But that'll even drill down to those remote opportunities.
Yep, and they're all on the same one, so
Perfect.
on the same website.
That's helpful for them to be able to look for those as well. Okay, so let me pull up my list of questions again. Let's see, on the tech positions, because we were just talking about those remote locations, you talked about there's a territory. On his video at the very end, it did say sign-on bonuses as part of after that video. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some benefits in addition to the ones you had already mentioned? Because I think sign-on bonus wasn't mentioned on your benefits slide.
Yes, so all of our technician positions and what we would call our shop positions for MGX and Aspen have a $3,500 sign-on bonus that is payable after 90 days of employment. So, it's just another benefit of onboarding with us. We'll give you a sign-on bonus for that. We also offer a tool reimbursement plan for the positions that may require them to purchase their own tools or have some of their own tools, on hand. We do provide some of them, but some people like to have their own, tools. So we offer $1,500 a year, and that's a calendar year. So from January to December, they can annually either purchase new tools to replace older ones, or, maybe they're just starting out and they need some tools. So they would have that available to them. And depending on when they would start throughout the year, it may be prorated a little bit, but otherwise it's $1,500 per calendar year. We also have the requirement to wear certain PPE when you're performing your job. So that's personal protective equipment. That would be safety glasses, steel-toed boots, or metatarsal boots, depending on what the requirements are at your location. Safety glasses is another thing, and some people prefer to wear prescription safety glasses, and we offer a reimbursement for those each calendar year as well. On the MGX side, it's $200 per year for the boots and the safety glasses each. Trying to think if there's any other benefits for the vacation time that we offer. That would be based on the level of service that you've obtained as of December 31st each year, and then we front load an amount in January for you to use each calendar year. And as you continue to gain service with the company, the ability to earn more vacation, I'll give you an example. If you've been here for 5 years, you get a 3rd week of vacation. At 10 years, you get a 4th week of vacation. 20 years is a 5th week of vacation. Everybody starts with 2 weeks of vacation. And again, if you start a little bit later in the year, that may be prorated a bit, but 2 weeks is kind of the starting point for that.
That's all wonderful. And I know some folks do get worried about that. Like if I need to perform my job, our tools provided, things like that. I would assume a company vehicle might be part of it too for the remote
Yes.
employees with their territory. Okay.
Yeah, all of our field technicians have a service truck. So, that's equipped with tools. A lot of our technicians, it's their own tools that are in those trucks, but they do have a service truck that's provided to them, or if it's a sales position, they would be provided a company vehicle for sales, because they'd be traveling a lot.
Perfect. No, that's all great information. When it comes to these jobs, whether they're remote technicians out at the dealerships, working on the job site versus maybe the HR folks. I saw, you've got a business systems analyst, which I'm going to ask you a follow-up question on that. Some other more business unit type of positions that are open. Can you talk about hours, shifts? So whether they're out in the field or maybe, in an office, what do shifts look like that they could expect?
So I'm going to start with the manufacturing side first. So if, for example, here at Shady Grove, we operate on 2 main shifts, and they work 4 10s. So, I believe they start as early as 5 a.m. and it might go to 3 or 3:30, and that's Monday through Thursday. And then they have a second shift that would come in around the maybe 3 o'clock time frame and go until early the next morning. Some of our maintenance crew may operate on 5/8s, and they have 3 shifts where they have a first, second, and third, because they're kind of the after hours people that are taking care of equipment and things, while people aren't working on them. So, on the office side of things, I usually see hours anywhere from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Those are kind of like the core hours, but depending on what department you're in, it may fluctuate a little bit. Our call centers or customer service representatives, sometimes the call centers have to operate 24/7, and they are global, so somebody does pick up. But we do have customer service people who may work a later shift to cover phones later into the evening. Our technicians at MGX and Aspen typically have that 7 o'clock a.m. start time, and then they work until they don't have any more work that day, or it's a typical 8-hour day. Overtime is Not guaranteed, but usually available.
Not required also then.
Correct.
Okay. Because I know some folks are concerned like, I'm done with the 60-hour work weeks in the military. I'd rather work my 40
Yeah.
and that's it.
I'm not
Um,
going to say that there's not occasionally like, hey, we need the next 2 weekends. It's required that we work, but it's not a all the time thing. No.
Special cases.
Yes.
Understand that. Okay. So then let's get to another question in the chat. And I was going to kind of migrate to this route about positions and postings and how long things are up. So someone said there's a position that's been up since June of 23. So it's not too long ago, but we're going on, maybe 8 months. Are some positions up there just because they're continuous need, or they're just looking for the right person? Or can we talk about how long postings are usually up?
Yeah. So we always have technician positions posted for MGX and Aspen. They are a continual posting. So we do go out and refresh them occasionally. But yes, they are always posted. So if it says June of 2023, if it's still posted, it means there's still positions available. And you will see multiple technicians posted at each location. And if you look at the job descriptions, the requirements are slightly different between them because it's to allow people with different levels of experience to apply to those jobs. So, if you're looking and you're like, oh, I only have 1 year of experience and the requirements say 2, if you click on another one, there's probably a position there that will allow you to apply because you have the experience within that. We didn't want people to be deterred from applying if they had other levels of experience. So we are always looking for shop techs, field techs, and they will always be posted out there.
Perfect. Good to know. Yes. Awesome. So I know we've talked a lot about technician roles, some of the manufacturing roles. I'm going to click back onto your slides, the current opening ones, because maybe there are some additional questions on some of the additional positions you had posted. So let me go back to them. I had one about the business systems analyst. So kind of like, what is that? What do they do? Maybe a background, some qualities that you're looking for, because maybe there's some folks here that don't have that technical mechanical aptitude and are looking more for those type of roles. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I'll start to talk about it. This is actually a position at our Shady Grove location, so I may ask Kelly or Laura to jump in as well. But the business systems analyst is in our IT or our information systems group, and they would work with our IT group on pretty much all of the computer related and computer assets that we have across the businesses. And I don't know if Kelly's still on here or not.
You got it. They have a lot of project responsibilities, but they partner with a lot of different groups and teams. So they troubleshoot as well as lead projects, but it's a very broad, all-encompassing role. But yeah, you covered it.
Okay, thank you so much for that additional info, Kelly. Because I know our folks coming through, maybe they've got a tech background, an IT background that could
Yeah.
be a great fit for
Yeah.
them. Although this is, of course, a manufacturing company. We need
Mhm.
IT folks. We still need our systems to work. So
Yeah.
very important. All
You know,
right,
funny
another.
story, Katie, funny story. What you just said, I said the same thing. Well, when I first got hired with MGX, I almost didn't attend that career fair that day because it's manufacturing, and I'm in human resources and recruiting. So I thought, there's not going to be anything for me there. And sure enough, here I am. So don't be discouraged by the industry or whatever. Every industry needs all the people. So be encouraged to check us out.
He came into our breakout room and never left.
I'm still in the breakout room waiting.
Someone had a follow-up question to this business systems role. Is that one in person or remote?
It's here in Shady Grove. It's mostly in person. There's a lot of flexibility even to any of our salary administrative roles. Basically, you look at your responsibilities, you partner with your management team and the projects that you have going on, and that schedule can be worked around you. If you're outside of production on the production floor, there's some flexibility to your start and end times. You just partner with your management team and the project that you're owning.
Yeah. And if you have like certain things that you have to do like at the branch or at the factory, then you would be required to be on site. But I know IT or the call center and customer service roles are some that are a little bit more flexible with the possibility of working from home.
Such good information. I love it. Because then even the next one, accountant, right? Oh, I work with numbers. Didn't think to work, go into a manufacturing company, but similar aspect. I think that one probably is a little more self-explanatory, but I want to also ask about the manager, sales development, branch manager, because when you think about military, a lot of our folks work in operations, the broad, big term of operations. And I think some of these type of positions might be a good fit. Can someone talk a little bit more about the manager, sales development, branch manager, maybe service manager, kind of those management positions?
Sure. Yeah, the sales development manager, again, that's a position that's in sales, and they will be managing a specified region or geographic area. A lot of our sales people, there's some who live close by to Shady Grove that might actually come here daily or, on occasion. But for the most part, our sales team will work remotely or from home because they're on the road, or it's just easier for them to work from home. They're not required to come in to any specific location. Our branch manager, service admin, or service manager, they would be required to work at a specific location because they have direct involvement with the product flowing through the door and the people there. So they have to be present. Now, if there's a day where they have an appointment or, they need to be off, can they work from home? Yes. Do they work from home on the weekends because they're gluttons for punishment and they want to get something done? We do have a couple that will do that. It's not required, but some may do that from home, but they would be required to be at the branch daily because their work is directly involved with what flows through that branch. So they have to be there.
Okay, thank you for that. That kind of sparked another question because we obviously have a lot of logisticians in this class as well, right? So we got your folks who are making the products, fixing the products, working at the dealerships. What about the folks who are moving everything from site to site? Can we talk a little bit about the supply chain logistics side, and are positions like that available? What would be some opportunities for folks with that type of background?
So logistically, if we are like say a crane is leaving the manufacturing site and being transported to a dealership after purchase, that's handled through a third party. It's not a position that we have here. Now, we do have some supply chain and logistics positions here because they may work with some of our vendors or suppliers of parts or components that we have coming in. But typically the logistics are all third party people. I will say with Aspen, we do have a few drivers, but they are part-time. There's not many of them.
I can imagine these are big pieces of equipment that have to be moved. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Not just anybody can move them. There's a lot of things required of the people who can.
Yes, really the logistics more maybe getting the parts in to compile to build. Okay, perfect. I love that breakdown. Okay, I know we've got about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to put my Manitowoc team on the spot here regarding why your company. What drew you to this company and what has kept you? So if each of you can talk through that a little bit.
So whenever we started the presentation, I mentioned that I've been here for almost 19 years. I started here as a summer hire in between college semesters, and I just needed something to keep me busy until I went back to school. And my grandfather actually worked for Grove before Manitowoc acquired Grove, and he knew some people here and said, "Hey, does Grove, Manitowoc, do they still do the summer hire for kids?" And they're like, "Yeah." So, kids, but I was an adult. I was 18 at that point, but they allowed, children of employees who were in between college semesters to come in and help out around the the factory. You could paint the lines, you could paint the buildings, you could help clean up. I worked on the HR team to help schedule interviews and file and just some administrative things. And I never left. So they say not to call it a family, you know, it's a team, but it really is a family to me because I've been here for so long, and Manitowoc has really, you know, supported my family in many ways over the years. The people that I work with have become like family to me. We're all very supportive of each other, even though it's a big company and, you know, you have a corporate office, you have, you know, all of these different locations. It's still very family oriented and has a family feel to it. It's the most uncorporate corporate you've ever seen. You know, I would not have been here for 19 years if I didn't like coming to work, because I don't really do anything that I don't like. So I'm here. So, and I'll let the rest of the team kind of speak to their experience.
All right, just to jump on after Ashley, my early career was in manufacturing, and through life changes, I ended up with retail supply chain for a large big box company. And again, a big life change and an opportunity came up here at Manitowoc, which is 5 minutes away from my home. And I work across the street, or I'm sorry, I live across the street. My neighbor has worked here going on his 50th year. And I lived across the street from him for 19 years. And he told me about the company, about the workforce, about the seniority here, and how people come and they don't want to leave, that it speaks volumes about a company. And they had an opening for my type of work in HR. And so he ran across the street and said, you know, you need to apply. And so here I am. I'm in only 15 months, but it's been a great move.
Okay, I'll go next. I was in tech recruiting for a long time. I was impacted last October by some layoffs at Zillow. And I was kind of at a crossroads. Do I continue with recruiting? Do I not? And luckily, I came to that Heroes Make America career fair that day, a week after having been laid off, just to kind of practice on my interviewing skills. And like Ashley said, I've been here ever since. Now, the reason that I stay is because as career development goes, this is just going to be another way for me to round out my HR experience. I've got the tech recruiting, HR assistant stuff, and now I'm going to be working on more HR focused opportunities. So this is just the next step. Nothing happens by chance. This was intended for me to be here so I could continue to grow in my career. And so again, don't miss out on an opportunity because you don't think it's going to be there for you. You never know where the next opportunity is going to be.
Did I miss anyone from your team, or is it just
Maybe I can chime in.
James?
Yeah, thanks. I've really enjoyed the past sort of hour and everything that's being presented. I'm really proud of the team that I work with Ashley and Kelly and Joe. And I think that's part of the reason that first attracted me. You know, the people that I had first contact with when I joined Manitowoc 7 years ago, and I didn't join Manitowoc in the US. I joined it in Germany. I happened to be living there at the time, and I went to the factory. I saw the amazing product that we're building here. These big 14-wheeled GMKs, all-terrain cranes, and you know, I sort of saw this product and I thought, wow, if this is what this company's making here, if this is what they're all, you know, working together as this big family manufacturing this product, then this is somewhere that I want to work. And you know, after going through the interview process, talking to different people, and I interviewed with the CEO that we have now, and sort of listening to some of his strategy and leadership, sort of brought me even closer. And I've been here 7 years. 2.5 years ago, I moved from Europe to the US, and my career has flourished as well. And you know, I think some of my advice to those people from the military who want to make that transition, and this is something that I was in the military when I was 18, and then I moved into the merchant marine. So I have a little bit of an understanding as to what a lot of those people who are on the call today are going through in terms of that transition. You know, if you're not sure if you're qualified, submit your resume anyway. You know, that's my advice to everyone here. If you're in any doubt, you know, just put it in anyway, because the team that we've got here are really good at identifying different competencies and different skills. And you know, even if it's not quite word for word what we've put in our job description there, put it in anyway, and we'll review it, and we'll get in touch with you if you know if we feel that you'll be a good fit for the family here.
All right, I love it. You guys are awesome. I think those are just great reasons to look at a company like Manitowoc, right? People don't leave. That says volumes about the culture of the company. So I encourage you all. I think the team really has done a great job of having that talent pool option. So upload your resume. There might be a position you didn't even know about that could just be the best position ever. Put your resume in there, apply to jobs. These folks have provided their email addresses, their LinkedIn contact. They want you. So reach out, have the conversations about positions that might be in your area. So we're going to launch a poll real quick. If you guys can take care of that before you head out. But some final thoughts. First of all, thank you to our team, our Manitowoc team. Great presentation. I've learned a lot. I know our folks have learned a lot about different positions that you guys have available. Next steps, explore their website. Go on those career pages, look at the Meet the Tech videos. You go through the chat, make sure you open those in your, before you close out, right? You lose the chat. So make sure you open all those links. Follow them on LinkedIn, follow Heroes Make America while you're there, and then connect with these folks. And then that's it. So thank you, team, for being here today. Thank you to our participants. We look forward to having you next time. But meet us next week, our next episode of Heroes Connect. We're going to have SEMI, which is a semiconductor association. So semiconductors are those little chips in every single piece of technology that we have. 3 of their companies are going to join us, TEL, Western Digital, and Advantest, to talk about completely different. We're talking cranes today, and we're going to talk about semiconductor tech chips next week. So this is a very diverse industry, guys. So thank you again. We will see you
Thank
next time.
you. Bye.